The Chiropractic Philanthropist, episode 242.
Because to me, that's the real legit chiropractic. Like show it. You know what? Like if you can do these things, and then prove it. Then show what you're doing within how many adjustments, and show the adjustment. Let's see your art.
Starting your own practice is hard for many chiropractors. It's riddled with both struggles and successes. But here at the Chiropractic Philanthropist, we make it easy by getting chiropractors to share their struggles and lessons learned in life and practice so that you don't have to make the same mistakes. And now, here's your host, Dr. Ed Osborne. My guest today on the Chiropractic Philanthropist is Dr. Brett Jones. Dr. Brett has obsessively dedicated his life to training his mind, body, and spirit to be in harmony with the universe so he can serve people in a way that directly connects them back to their inherent power and wisdom. Dr. Brett has opened the Source Chiropractic in Oakland, California, which is currently the fastest growing chiropractic office in the Bay Area. The Source was awarded the Best of Oakland by Oakland Magazine. Dr. Brett also serves as founder and art director of Kairos Training Culture, which is the fastest growing chiropractic performance training system in the chiropractic profession. Dr. Brett is committed to giving, loving, and serving with everything he has in every single moment. In this TCP podcast episode, Dr. Brett and I discuss innovative marketing strategies for your practice and some controversial chiropractic dogma. Now let's go ahead and thank today's sponsor, and that is ChiroClicker, the world's first chiropractic adjusting toy for kids. It allows children to play chiropractors at home, pretending to adjust the family and all their teddies and dolls. Chiropractors can buy ChiroClicker in bulk and sell them in their office or even give them away to practice members. TCP listeners get 10% discount by using the coupon code TCP10 at chiroclicker.com. That's chiroclicker.com, nurturing the next generation of chiropractors. All right, TCP listeners, I got to tell you, I am excited beyond measure today. I have a guest who's already been on the Chiropractic Philanthropist before, Dr. Brett Jones. Dr. Brett, how you doing?
It's been a phenomenal day, man. I'm excited to be back on.
Yeah, and I mean, like you're probably in between seeing patients right now, just so you took some time out of your schedule to come and talk to us today.
I did. I just finished up right at noon, and then here we go at 12:05, ready to rock.
Man, I got to tell you, I mean, I've been following what you're doing on social media, following you on Facebook and seeing what you're doing. And it's exciting about what we're going to talk about today, because a lot of what you're doing is really going to, I see it, is not just now impacting the profession, but it's going to really force people to up their game in the profession in the next 12 months, 2 years. It's really exciting to see your ride. For those, Dr. Brett, for those people who don't know who you are, tell us a little bit about who you are. Tell us a little bit about you as a chiropractor as well.
I like to think I'm just another vibrant soul on the path to mastery, and just trying to enjoy the ride on the way there. But I graduated 2013 from Life Chiropractic College West. While a student at Life Chiropractic College West, I broke the clinic record for seeing outpatients, and I was involved just about every service thing you could do on campus. One of the reasons for that was I knew that I was getting to a service profession. So I was the student council president, I was IFCO global representative, I was a clinic representative, and I was a student champion for life. So I kept pretty busy, and I was a founder and director of Adjusting Ninjas, which is a training program that I developed while in school to help increase the art of chiropractors, and really mainly chiropractic students, that we could better serve the public when we enter clinic. And that has continued on. It's grown. So now we have about 20 clubs worldwide. We've been in 6 different countries in the last year. I've taught over 20 different training camps. And now it's kind of flowered into what we're calling Kairos Training Culture, which is basically the umbrella corporation that's going to do with all things performance training and the art of chiropractic. And we have a new podcast coming out, which is called The Artful Chiropractor, which Ray Daniels has been working with you on, actually. He's actually in your program, and so he's actually going through that and helping us with that. And we have our first 4 episodes done and should be releasing within the week. So Yeah, there's a lot happening. And I'm the owner of the Source Chiropractic, which has won Best of Oakland 2016, 2015, and currently the highest volume practice in Oakland.
Wow. And I got to tell you, I mean, too, like if anyone who's listening here, they have to, if they want the backstory, they want to hear about the, as we go through the regular flow on TCP, we did that actually back on TCP episode 177, where we had Dr. Brett tell us about the struggle, tell us about adjusting ninjas and never folding. It was really inspirational and one of the highest downloaded episodes we've ever had on TCP to date, including all the best-selling authors and all those other people we've had on. Wow. So just, yeah, really brilliant. And that's part of why I have you back on today. But I'm excited because, again, I've been following you on social media. And let me ask you this. I mean, where have you been learning? Or is this something like more like, look, you've been observing what other people have been doing, and that's where you came up with the video and the live Facebook Live that you're doing now? And it looks like you're doing it on a weekly basis. All these different marketing techniques. Where are you getting these from?
Innate intelligence. I notice what I notice, and I observe what I observe. And I mean, the social media, I'm not a stranger to it. I started my own YouTube channel when I was a student, and had some pretty high volume hits on social media when I was a student. Me and my wife did the Shit Chiropractors Say video, and then there was another like Call Me Maybe parody that we did, and so we did some videos that got some pretty high hits on social media when I was a student, and that was one of the things that I knew that I could start building a tribe now. And so a lot of students say, well, what can I do? Well, I'm only in school, I mean, I can only do so much. But especially with the way things are working now, you can start, building your tribe and your following and projecting your voice really even before you get into chiropractic school. So I knew that it was going to be important. And there's a lot that I've done, and I think you're always constantly, now they got new analytic systems that you can read, but I mean, previous to the analytic systems was like just the feedback that you get when you post stuff, and so I do a lot. I'm a quantity person, so what somebody else might be able to do, in less tries, I just am one of those people that will just keep trying until I get it right, and I think the thing that differentiates me is I'm not scared to fail, and so I've failed a lot. And so when you see a video that's getting some hits or some pictures or something I said, it's probably because I said a lot of other shit that didn't work. And I'm starting to figure out, and I'm really starting to connect to who the people I want to connect to anyway, and I think that's been something that's kind of been this later progression is not really caring about the people that, I don't want to say I don't care about people, but knowing who your crew is, and being authentic, and the people that are going to like you are going to like you, and that's just the way it goes. And so for the social media thing, it's been a lot self-taught, to be honest.
I mean, what are the results you're seeing so for the Source Chiropractic with your social media?
Yeah, we're getting a lot of following. So we just within this last month, Dr. Jordan Fairley, who's another chiropractor at the Source, and he's crushing it on Instagram with his own personal profile. And so he's actually read a ton of books, and like he basically signs up for everybody's opt-in and gets like how they do it. And so he's figured out a lot on his own, but also put in a lot of work and just reading different things. And he's taken over basically our Source Chiropractic social media. And we actually hired on a video editor, photographer, Kyle Glenn, who's at the office now 10 to 15 hours a week. And we shoot 1 to 2 days a week. We'll do 2 hours worth of videos, and then they get edited, and then Dr. Jordan figures out how they get released. And now we have a whole drip email system. So if you go to our Facebook, you can actually sign up and you see how we do it. But we're doing high quality videos with text on them that are eye catching. Kind of Business Insider does some of that stuff with Tony Robbins, and so we kind of got a little bit inspired from that. And so that's kind of our style, where we're doing 1-2 minute educational pieces. But the main reason behind it is because I want to create a module system of education for our people. So for our tribe, for our what we call them sorcerers, people of the Source, for our sorcerers, that when they start as a new person at our office, that they'll get enrolled into a 6-month educational system. And then so one of the things we're running into is we're pretty high volume. So how do you continue to keep the education flowing so people feel like they're continually being connected to? And so we think, dripping emails weekly with new videos on what they should be learning, or, ways to explore different areas of their health. And so it's already helped us with our retention. We're already starting to get a few new people from it. But I think the coolest thing is that people are able to share, about their chiropractor, and start to share, this inside out philosophy of health. So it's been rad.
Yeah, and I really like the idea here too that, well, just pulling from what you're saying is that a lot of this comes back to quantity, and it's quality too, but quantity of what you put out there. And you're very consistent. So number one, listeners, if you want to see more people and have a high volume practice, put out more content, put out more quality content, and be consistent about it. Just don't give up. Just keep doing it too, right? And also, I'd like what you're saying here about observe who's doing it right and then duplicate what they're doing.
Absolutely. And I do, you know what, I do want to comment on the quantity thing, because if it's quantity of content that's not yours, it's not going to do anything. So a lot of people, and I got nothing against Amplified, I think it's a great idea. But there's a lot of these posts that just get continually shared that get no action because people want to connect with you. And so, so to me, things that are dead are patient testimonial videos that don't include what you actually did. So if you're just getting somebody talking on film, you might as well just, you're wasting your time. What else I think is dead is just like random ass pictures of spine and like neurology studies. Like, it sounds cool and all, but like, unless you created it, people probably don't give a shit. So I've found that, like, by being personal with your audience, knowing who you want to connect to. If you're gonna do care stuff, then I imagine doing, like, so for instance, I got some cool cases that are coming up right now. I got 2 back-to-back kids with esophageal atresia. Basically, one had an H fistula that had a connection of the trachea to the esophagus, and had a congenital acquired torticollis because of it. First adjustment, torticollis went away. And the kid was neurologically delayed, was not crawling. Within a week, started crawling, and we documented the whole process. And so, like, shit like that, if you can say, hey, these are the pictures of the kid, this is the testimony, this is what happened, this was the adjustment. And yes, we adjust kids. To me, that's what's actually going to blow up. So if you're going to take care of something and do a testimonial, put yourself on film doing it, and get a waiver signed, do it right. And to me, that's the future of, like, because again, people talking on film, like, it's over inundated. There's been too much of it, I think, and so people don't really care anymore. But if you can actually get video of the actual quote unquote treatment or adjustment, then yeah, I think that's when you're gonna blow up.
Yeah, I have a member who, we were kind of brainstorming, just riffing on a call, a member of CLL, and we were talking about, video, and he's brilliant when it came to video. Really, really great work. He's very, very quality. And we just said, look, like, let's do a video of one of the kids coming in and getting adjusted, why the kids get it checked, and why they get adjusted when necessary. And it blew up. It was like over 80,000 views on Facebook. Incredible. Like, just went viral. And I mean, those are the things I believe that if more chiropractors were doing things like what you're doing, or what, like, that client is doing, that could really be what changes the public perception of what we do as chiropractors. And that's really what's going to take us past that tipping point to be, the number one source of healthcare in the world, versus number, I don't know, what is it? Like, the alternative, I guess you could say.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, because like, again, like, even hearing somebody else talk about it is not enough. Like, you want to see somebody came in. That's what, to me, it's like, I think it's the challenge. When you get people that are fucked up that come in, like, that barely walk, or like, like visual disturbances, like, and then I think it's a big challenge for yourself. And can I, help this person? And so we started putting it out to the universe that that's what we wanted. We want those difficult cases that are struggling everywhere else, that, that you can tell something is big going on, that we'll be able to document it. And that's one of the reasons we we hired a videographer to be on staff, so that, when those people come in, we identify who they are. And then we're going to get him start, documenting this case. And as we go through it, then it's just, it needs to happen, because people need to see it. Because, like, we talk about it and we share about it, and it's always like secondhand, third-hand stuff. But if people can get a first-hand testimonial of the actual process, and that's what, the Chiro Excellence guy in Australia, he was crushing it doing that. And now, he, unfortunately, with all this pediatric nonsense that's going down there, took a hit. But what he was doing is brilliant. You come in, because to me, that's the real legit chiropractic? You know, I mean, like, show it. You know what? Like, if you can do these things, and but you know, like, then prove it. You know, then show what you're doing within how many adjustments, and show the adjustment. Let's see your art. You know, is it gross manipulation or is it skillful art? You know, and I think that's when, you know, the profession will elevate to another. Because I think it makes you more accountable and increases the standard.
I think that's a perfect transition into Kairos. I want to make sure I'm pronouncing that right. So it's Kairos.
It's a difficult word to pronounce. It's our new name. Yes.
Yeah, but I mean, I love it, and so I think that some, and tell me if I'm wrong. I'm certain that even chiropractors who've been in practice for a while, some of them have challenges with confidence when it comes to maybe even working with kids or just, you know, in general in practice, delivering the, you know, their adjustment. So is that really the purpose behind what you're doing there?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, a lot of it is that it's one part. It's one part increasing the competency, and I think it's another part just elevating it. You know what I mean? So it's like, to me, the standard has been low, and I don't think you even understand how low the standard has been until I graduated, until I got like started traveling, and still until I was like able to actually like almost like pull up above the clouds and actually see like what was happening. I realized how low the standards were, and especially like when you start to like really study various techniques. And so like a lot of people consume themselves with a technique to the point that it comes dogmatic instead of like finding out the foundational truths. And to me, this is like a religion type of thing as well, meaning that you can have spirituality or you can be religious, right? And so some people choose a religion and they follow it to its depths and choose to accept certain stories instead of like almost understanding the principles of it. And I know that might ruffle some feathers. I'm more of a spiritualist, meaning that I study various religions. I study various spiritual texts. I study various religious texts. And what I'm looking for is, what is the core of what people are trying to get at? What are they trying to do? What is quote unquote closest to truth? And as I've studied various techniques, I've realized what the fluff is in a lot of techniques that a lot of people just try, like, over time, they just keep telling themselves to gloss over, but we all sense bullshit. And so there's a lot of techniques that have a lot of bullshit that gets taught, and they know it's bullshit. They have nothing to back it up. And yet it's just like, we just continue instead of like, I ask questions. So like, I was that dude in technique classes that'd be like, and why? You know, like, okay, let's do a deer field. And if it's a short leg that goes long, then it's a PI. And like, when I said, why? You know, and so what I found is the more that I asked why, the more I started to figure out where people were, or where techniques and sometimes professors were weak. And from that, you know, and that's why we kind of consider, you know, adjusting ninjas or Kairos training culture really bound by no technique. It's just increasing the art. And so how do you increase the art? I do think you need to study various techniques. And I think that was another thing I want to call bullshit on, is people think that you can't be proficient in a technique if you do more than one. I think it's bullshit. If you train your ass off, like, you can do whatever the hell you want to do. How many people are actually training outside of the office? That would be my question. Because what I know is with the ninjas, with the Kairos training culture, what we're trying to promote is that you train outside the office. Just like people, you know, people will go do CrossFit and they can do, you know, a 225-pound overhead squat, but they can't do a knee chest adjustment. Well, they just chose what they wanted to put their time into. You know, to me, I'm a chiropractor. I want to be the best chiropractor that ever was. And so if that is the case, what do I need to do? Okay, well, I need to train like it. And so if I want to train like it, that means that I need to be good at just about everything. Because BJ just didn't do knee chest. BJ could rock everything. He decided when he wanted to do knee chest, but that wasn't his limit. You know what I mean? So it's like, we get in these techniques and we think, well, this is the way I do it. And then we get dogmatic and we start to accept, you know, the fuzziness of the technique instead of exploring and asking bigger questions. And that's what we're trying to promote is, yes, a level of competency to walk in and like know what you know. Like, there shouldn't be a fucking PT in the world that could touch us. You know what I mean? I don't care if you learn manipulation for 3 years or whatever you say you did. If you're adjusting and training the adjustment like we're training the adjustment, there's nobody that can come close. So I ain't worried about, you know, PTs getting manipulative rights, or even, I mean, give somebody off the street. Like, it's just like, they don't do what we do. And they don't do what we do if we train like we do. So yeah, I think I hit the question somewhere in there.
I think so too.
Sorry, I got a little passionate.
That's okay. I mean, I want to stay there. I want to continue this conversation because, you know, and you and I kind of talked a little bit about this in the pre-chat. Is so, like, if you take someone like, when I learned Gonstead, for example, it was very strict Gonstead. Like, this is how it's done. This is how Gonstead taught it. How it's delivered. And do you think Dr. Brett, that there's a better way? Like, do you think that something like Gonstead should evolve, or should it stay, like you use your word, like dogmatic, should it stay the same, or is there a better way?
What I know is the only constant is change. And so always pay respect to those that came before you, and they definitely laid some stepping stones. But just let's use this analogy. Let's look at the world of surfing in the 1970s and 1960s, and then look at the world of surfing today. It's night and day. Look at snowboarding in the 80s, and then look at snowboarding now. Like it's like the athletes. Like here's the thing: if we have different technology to train, if we have a better understanding of anatomy and biophysics and biotensegrity, and just like with the amount of equipment that can go into training, shouldn't our art evolve? And so if our art should evolve, then that means you're increasing the application, you're increasing the knowledge. There should be innovation. Because I'll tell you one thing about Gonstead, I'll tell you one thing about CBP, and I'll tell you another thing about SOT. Why am I blanking on some of the names? But Desjardins, is that these were innovators. These were all innovators. And so, yes, it's a great system to build a framework upon, but I believe that eventually you have to evolve it. And so that's where it becomes, you become an artist, not a technician. And so the technician will repeat recipes, right? Will repeat the formula. But an artist is in the now. And so when you're in the now and in the moment, yes, you have the framework, but you have the framework so you can move from, so you can have unconscious competence to deliver something that is always creating and innovative. You're always, partnering with, and you say the powers of the universe to co-create in the moment. And that's an artist. And so we got to move away from being these technicians and being true artists, and artists are innovators.
So, Dr. Brett, I mean, if someone's listening right now, they're inspired. You're lighting the fire for them. They want to learn more about how can they market their practice in an innovative way, right? But also then how can they deliver their service in an innovative way? So I mean the adjustment. How do they start following you? Where do they find you?
The Source Chiropractic Facebook, that's where you'll find pretty much how we're doing our marketing. You can sign up for our newsletter. You'll get the same newsletter that our people get in our office. And so you'll kind of see how we're dripping things and how we're getting new people in. Feel free to check it out. Kairos Training Culture is our chiropractic performance training Facebook page. It's KAIROS Training Culture. And that's basically, again, it covers, we have online modules now that are for the public. Forever we had modules that were part of the Adjusting Ninjas training camps, which was 176 videos, basically a 6-month training system that chiropractic students and or chiropractors could enter and have movement and have artistry, have meditation, like basically break down all the elements of what we believe goes into being an artful chiropractor, and is within a 6-month program. And so now finally, we're starting to, release some of this stuff publicly. But that's one of the reasons, again, for our sustainability is every camp that we've gone to, we've set up a club there and gifted them 6 months of training so that they could go online, watch videos, learn how things are done. Because when I was in school, what I realized is, like, again, you're not week in seminar, you might pick up a couple things, right? And then within a couple weeks, you forget the couple things and you got to go to another one. I'm like, if you're training this, then you continue to elevate. And so the only way, again, the profession gets better is if we train it. And so that's, until you reach a state of unconscious competence. And so that's why we gifted the Adjusting Ninjas Training Camp modules. So Kairos Training Culture Facebook page, the Source Chiropractic Facebook page. We just released our first, again, public module, which is precise and powerful side posture adjusting. And it's with myself. Very proud of it. A lot of time went into it. And that's what I think. A lot of people think like this, and you tell me if I'm wrong. I think you're an expert in this field, that this online, quote unquote, passive income is easy. Oh my goodness. If you knew like the behind the scenes work that goes into a module and making sure everything looks right, and the filming and the editing and the upload time and the marketing and the advertising, it's ridiculous. But this has been like, I don't know, 5-6 years in the making now, this freaking module of putting things together in a way that I delivered it. It was precise, no fluff. It's like boom, to the point. The video might only be 1.5 minutes, but you're getting everything you need in that 1.5 minutes. I wasted no time with any extra conversations. And And I think that's another place that I've noticed some module systems, like you'll be in a module system and it's a conversation for like, the video is 6 minutes long and some bullshit conversation for 5 minutes. And then they actually talk to you about what they're going to talk about. It's like, can we not just give people what they need? Like boom, 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 boom. And help people be efficient with their time as much as you want to be efficient with yours. Side note. But
yeah, I mean, if there was a question in there, I think there was. Yeah, I mean, online business is a business and it needs to be treated as such. So just like your business in your practice is a business, where you focus your effort expands. So, I mean, even with myself and I help coach, chiropractors into online business. I mean, it's really just another side income or side strategy to either grow their practice or have cash flow coming in, but it takes and requires work. Absolutely. I was calculating, Dr. Brett, the other day, how, like, if someone went to episode 1 of TCP, this podcast, and hit play and went through all of them, it would take them 5.5 days to listen to them back to back the entire time. That's a lot of content. That doesn't include production, how much time it took to produce them, right? So this is what I love about what you've done. So you're like, look, we got over 170 training tutorials on how to master the art. I mean, that's incredible to think about that. That's incredible. But it also is a reflection of your dedication, right? To bring value to people, so to our profession, and to expand our profession. So I love that. And I want to, just before I kind of wrap the call up today too, before we do that, I just want to ask you one final question. And, we kind of hit on everything in terms of like, talking about the technique, talking about marketing as well. But I love where you said actually, what is dead, and what else would you say, in terms of the dogma, in terms of getting the message of chiropractic and marketing out there, what is the final one thing that you would say is dead in terms of marketing your practice?
Which one's going to get me in trouble the most? Let's see. You know what? Can we be real for a minute?
Yeah.
I'd rather end with what's alive. And to me, what's alive is dynamic, vibrant, colorful marketing. And the reason I say that is because I live in Oakland, California, and I'm Black. And I think what needs to shift is a lot of the marketing is old vanilla messages. And so if we want to get current, let's get real with current social economics. Let's get socially and culturally intelligent. And let's find ways to bring other speakers and other presenters and other educators from different areas of life to the front of the battle of whatever you want to call it, to allow people to express themselves, so we can actually meet the cultural current mix in society. Because guess what? Even though the chiropractic profession might be 90-something% white, that's not our society. And so if our society here has different minorities, then we need to have different minority messages. And that means having infographics that feature people that are non-white. And so to me, that's the big change that needs to happen, is that we need to become culturally relevant, culturally intelligent. And I'll end with that.
Outstanding. And, I feel, and I have felt for the last 12, 18 months, that there's certainly a tide of change in the leadership in the profession. There's these young chiropractors such as yourself that are coming up. And I can see that, you're clearly one of those people who is part of that new leadership. And I want to thank you for giving back on TCP today. And I know that you're open. If anyone who's listening today that feels they want to reach out to you on Facebook or want to learn more about your trainings, I'm going to encourage them to do that. You can actually head into the show notes of this. If you're listening on your mobile, expand those show notes right now, and all those clickable links that we mentioned will be there. If you'd like to head over to TCP podcast, TCP, the Chiropractic Philanthropist website, we'll have a webpage dedicated to our discussion with Dr. Brett as well. Dr. Brett brought it today. Yeah, brought the fire. I appreciate it so much for being on the show today.
I appreciate all you do. You do a lot, and you're definitely making the profession better. So thank you so much.
So you've heard the struggles, you heard the successes, and this episode is done. But there's still so much more to come and so much more to learn. Head on over to thechiropracticphilanthropist.com and sign up for our newsletter where you'll receive free practice management tutorials on how to hire your dream team, educate your patients, market your practice, and so much more. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time on The Chiropractic Philanthropist.